Welcome. Today I want to talk about the most important relationship in our lives. When I say that, oftentimes we think of, oh, it's our partner, or it's our children, it's our parents, or it's all the many friends we have that are important to us. Those people are all important to us. But in fact, the most important relationship in our lives is with ourselves. It all begins with ourselves. When I say this to people, oftentimes their first reaction is, ooh, that feels selfish. I've been taught that by giving, I receive. And in the giving is where the joy is. And that's all true. But it's also really important to clue in first to who we are and what we want. That way, when we're actually giving, we can be more precise in giving in a way that also brings a lot of fulfillment to our own lives. There's lots of ways to give. And if we don't clue into what we need and want, we often get burnt out in our giving. And then we say, what's wrong? I was told that by giving, I was going to receive. It's when we hook up what ways we want to give with the ways that we're giving out in the world that it's a win-win. So it's eliciting our passion. It's giving in a way that makes us feel passionate, and giving in a way that creates compassion. And when you balance passion and compassion, you've got a beautiful marriage of a great thing. So ways that we start developing a relationship with ourselves are by asking basic questions like, what is it I want? Once again, listen when you ask those questions to what voices come up, because oftentimes what comes up is, ooh, that sounds selfish. I'm not really supposed to want things. But in fact, we do. We want all kinds of things. And I'm not talking about a new sports car necessarily or a new piece of clothing. I'm talking about what would bring fulfillment to my life, what would make me happy. Now, we can't always get everything we want, but in just asking the question, we're giving ourselves the respect and the acknowledgement that that's an important question to ask ourselves. And the answer is really important too. And when we get more clear about what we want, then we can see if it's available to us. We can start designing our life to bring more of that into our life, which makes us feel happier and more fulfilled. And then when we give ourselves to other people, we're giving from a generous, open, fulfilled heart rather than from a burnt out place. So that's a really important question. What is it I want? Another question is, what do I need? We all have needs. And it's important to drill down and find out what those needs are. Once again, it's like, what do I need now? A cookie or a hug? But it's important to drill down and find out what's deeper. What do I need? Do I need a hug? Do I need physical contact with somebody? Do I need more people in my life? Do I need a career that's more fulfilling for myself? Or is my career okay? I just need to express myself more creatively in some way. Maybe I need to bring in a new hobby. Maybe I need to pick up the guitar that I used to play when I was young. Maybe I need to spend less time with people and more time with myself in stillness, or more time with my family and my children. So there's a myriad of answers that can come to that question, but it's really important to ask those questions. So the first one is, what do I want? The second one is, what do I need? The third one is, what's fun for me? Oftentimes when I meet with people, they don't know what's fun for them. So that's an important question to ask too. It's not all work and no play that makes Jack a dull boy. So it's important to clue in what's fun for me. So what do I want? What do I need? And what's fun for me? And the last one is, what is my heart's desire? And that's a question that sometimes takes a while to get to, but by spending time with yourself and asking these other questions, you can start opening up to that question and listening for what answers come. So the most important relationship is with yourself, and you can begin to cultivate it by asking yourself these simple questions. Thank you. Welcome. Today, my guest is Tim McAllister, and I'm going to be coaching him on what's the next step in his life that's going to take him closer to the life that he wants to be living. So welcome, Tim.
Hi.
Hi. Good to see you. Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome.
So we talked a little bit about what area of life that you'd like to move forward in, and that area was?
I'd like to have my own TV show.
Your own TV show.
Or shows.
Okay. And I think you said that that was going to be in the area for you of community and any other areas that that'll impact in your life?
Right now, what I'm interested in doing is to help people create their own television shows for their own and try to get ideas and get the community working on creating television shows, and eventually with the aim of me getting my own television show.
Wow,
to help
very
people.
Exciting.
Something to help people.
Very exciting. Well, you've helped me a little bit with this, so I really appreciate
Okay.
that. So that's very exciting. So some of the work that you want to do is in helping people get the shows on. What will that be?
The type of show that you have, the regular talk show, is the easiest one to do. And in the studio here, it's easy to have people come in, and you've got the cameras and the lights. And I'd like to get people doing those shows at first, and then eventually I'd like to go out into the community with cameras. But I would like the community to do it themselves. So.
And what do you mean by that?
There are a lot of nonprofit organizations that need publicity in order to develop their contributions. And first I'd like to start with those people, to have them come in and train on how to use video, and then to create videos or shows that can benefit their constituency, or just to make money for them. You know, as long as they're putting it towards a good purpose, then to make money for them.
Wonderful. So that is something that anyone can do, right?
Anybody can do it. They just don't know that they can do it. And I'm learning that I can do it, and I'm trying to get as many people involved as I can.
Okay. So how does someone go about doing their own show?
In the United States, there are laws for the cable companies to provide public access to people. Now, with the internet, it's not as necessary because people can broadcast themselves much easier than they used to 30 years ago. But the public access studio is right here in Carmel for all the people in Putnam County, or at least the people who have Comcast. And they can come in for free, and they can train on how to use it. And the people who work here are very, very helpful.
Yes, they
in
are.
all phases of it. And the equipment that we're using today is very good equipment. So the lights are here, the studio space are here, the cameras here, and all people have to do is come in and get trained.
It's remarkable, actually. I mean, I was just amazed at the fact that there's this wonderful studio, there's camera people, there's cameras and lights and all kinds of things like that to put on the show, and it's all free, as long as you get trained in how to use it properly.
Right, and if you take the course, it'll be an in-studio course, but we also have field equipment that we'll train you on, and you can take that field equipment out to your fundraising, to your pony rides, or your lunch and dinner, or your golf tournament, or whatever you're going to have, and you can videotape it. And I think it's a way for the community to, improve itself.
Right. And now you said the studio was in Carmel, but I believe that every cable channel has a public access channel and also a studio where people can go and do their own shows. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Westchester County, there are a few, and then over in Danbury, and then further north. You can also make your show right here, like I think you're planning on doing,
right,
and then distribute it to the other cable companies.
That's just wonderful.
As long as you follow the rules,
Right.
which are very simple, then you can take the DVD down to Westchester, or over to Danbury, and they'll play it, and all the people over there can see your show.
Wonderful. And I think one of the major rules is you can't sell anything, no advertising, but otherwise there's a lot of things that you can do.
You can do
Public
anything.
access, yeah.
You can really do more stuff than they'll allow you on the networks because they don't police what you do. If it's something controversial, they could put it on at a later time or something. But you are responsible for your content also.
So it's up to the person doing the show.
So as you know, you're the producer. You're going to sign the slip, and you're responsible for it. And it keeps people honest.
Okay. So what would you like to see as far as, let's talk about what you'd like to see as far as other people doing shows, what you'd like to see more of. And then I'd like to hear more about what kind of show you'd like to do.
I'd like the people who are in nonprofits, or they don't have to be even, they could just be community people who are interested in using television to help other people, just like you're doing right now.
Right.
And those are the type of shows that I'd like to get. Now, whether it's sports and fitness, or whether it's something with education, or the Women's Resource Center is planning on sending 2 people to get trained next month.
Oh.
So it's that type of thing.
Yeah.
I have gone out and I've helped people, but only one time. I don't want to get involved in, overly involved in people's, purposes. I think that they've got good organizations, they have the expertise, they know what has to be done, and all they need is the training to come and use the free equipment and get their word out.
It's like the best kept secret, and it shouldn't be a secret. More people should know about this because it is a great way to share what you're doing with the rest of...
I think people don't have the time, or they think they don't have the time. But if they take the course, the 5 or 6 week course that's offered, they'll find out that it's actually pretty easy. And the people manning the cameras right now are volunteers. So nobody's actually getting paid for this, and there is no money exchanged.
Okay. So when you think about your TV show, if you were to have the ultimate TV show that you'd like to create, what would that be?
I want to do health and fitness shows. That's what I want to do. And one of the reasons that I want to do fitness is because there's action. I think if people sit down and talk about nutrition for 5 minutes, that's okay. But if you're going to talk about nutrition for longer than that, then people are going to tune out. So I would like to have a show that's segmented with nutrition, with other maybe mental issues, and then with physical issues of working out. Yoga, working out, running, people dieting, trying to lose weight to make themselves healthier, or people just, I don't know, it's something like that. That's what I'm interested in.
And what do you think it is about that topic that really speaks to you?
I've always been interested in physical fitness myself since I was younger.
Have you always been fit?
There's been a couple of times where I wasn't. And there were reasons for it. I was working down in the city, and I was working many hours, and it was tough.
It is hard to remain fit when you're working many hours and you're working far away from home. It's hard to find the time for it.
So I tried to walk down in the city, and I found out that was even difficult. So eventually what happened was I left that, and I came home, and then I started slowly dedicating time to it. And when I came back from the city, I went to a doctor, and she told me I had slightly high blood pressure, slightly high cholesterol, and she wanted to put me on medication, and I wasn't going to go for that at all. So I found out that I was able to diet and get it into normal levels now, just down into normal levels.
And so how did you do that? I mean, you dieted and any exercise program, or? I
do my own exercise program. I have a gym in my basement. I have 4 boys and a girl, and they all use it.
Wonderful.
And I just like to do it in the summertime. I ride my bicycle on the bike trails, and I time myself because otherwise I get bored doing the same. I ride on the roads sometimes too. I used to run, but I've had a knee operation and it's more difficult for me to run now. And recently I've started doing yoga just last month.
Very nice.
And it's not as easy as it looks, so I take the easy courses. And with diet, I'm not strict on my diet, but I'm strict enough that I can maintain my weight. So I do eat things that, you know, you shouldn't eat, but as long as you do it in moderation, then, you know, it's fine.
So can you contrast the way you felt when you were not in very good shape, you know, when you were working long hours in the city, to how you feel now?
I was starting to have a hip problem with my right hip, and it hurt me. And I think part of that was my pants were tight. I never got larger pants, and my belt was tight, and I was sitting at a desk all the time. And I didn't know what was going to happen, but slowly as I kept moving and working out more and more, that went away. I mentioned my knee. I had a knee operation. And little by little, I mean, I'm over 50 now, you have to go slow. You have to do the kind of workout that isn't going to injure you. So you may work out hard for 2 weeks and then take 2 weeks off. You have to start back up where you were at the beginning. You can't start working out where you were at the end when you laid off. You have to start back at the beginning because age does take its toll.
Yeah, and it's amazing how quickly we lose that fitness. I know if I miss a few days of running, it seems like I'm starting back over again.
So now it's a maintaining. It's, you know, you're not going to go into the Olympics.
Right.
You're not going to win any races. You know, you're just maintaining.
Right. So I can see why this is important to you, and I can tell by being with you that you feel really strong and fit, and you've got the energy and kind of I can feel it from you that you're physically in good shape, and I can see why you'd want to share that with other people. It's quite a contrast to not feeling like that, and there's so many people that if they just realize, I mean, do you get pleasure out of working out, or?
Luckily, I like it. So.
Okay.
I enjoy it, and what I do is I do different things. I don't do the same thing every day. I have about 50 or 60 different exercises, and I'm always trying something new.
So do you think that helps to keep your interest level up in exercising?
Yeah, it does, because if you do the same, first off, if you do just push-ups and sit-ups, it just gets boring. And I do them, but I really just don't like them. So I bought a 1-month membership to the gym over here, and most of the time I went there, I did the kettlebells because I didn't know anything about it, and it was something different, and I wanted to learn it. So I went in there, and each time I went in, I did the kettlebells, which is this Russian weight. It's basically it's kind of like a dumbbell with a handle on it, and I worked at those.
Do they weigh different weights, or are they all the same? How much do they
they're
weigh?
all the different ones.
Okay.
They have a standard one. The Russians have a standard one, but when you go to the gym, they have all colored ones that are, you know, from little bitty ones to the big ones.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you've done a lot of different things, so you'll have a lot to share with people. So a TV show sounds wonderful. So I'm wondering what it is that you think is your next step to getting that happening.
Well, actually, today we're taping a yoga show right here in the studio. And I think I'm taking my first step today, being here with you and doing that show.
Wonderful, wonderful. So already that part of getting other people's shows out on fitness is happening.
Right.
And so what would it take to get from, so that's one piece of it, and then the other piece is actually doing your own show. And I'm wondering, is there something that you'd like to commit to between now and next month that would take a step in that direction for your own show?
How about 6 shows on the air?
You're going to have 6 shows on the air in 1 month?
6 episodes.
In 1 month?
6 episodes.
Wow. Okay. That's a big commitment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll try it.
Okay, so 6, are they half-an-hour shows?
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, can we check back in with you in a month
Certainly.
and see how it's going?
Yep.
And once again, you know, it's important to kind of throw the gauntlet down and say 6 shows, and we'll see what happens with that. And I think it's going to be a wonderful benefit to the community. Because there's so many people who don't understand the benefits of feeling good physically and how it's the payoff. And it sounds like you can bring a lot to it as far as various kinds of ways to do it, keep it interesting. So it sounds very exciting. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we end today?
No, I'll talk to you in a month.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it, Tim. Thank you so much for being on the show with me
you're
today.
welcome.
At the beginning of the show today, we talked about the most important relationship in our life and how that's the relationship with ourselves. And there's various ways you can cultivate that. We've talked before about listening to ourselves and tuning into our heart, following our breath, and going in and tuning to our heart. So I just want to refresh that for today, because the best place to start to develop the relationship with yourself is by spending time by yourself. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount of time. It can mean that you get up 10 minutes earlier and kind of go into your room where you might have coffee, but just sit in stillness, no distractions, no other people around, and ask yourself some questions. Once again, what is it I need today to create the day that I want? Obviously, there are some things that you have to do in your day, but it's important to ask those questions. What do I need to make the day the best day it can be? When we ask those questions, you'd be surprised at some of the answers that come out. So by sitting in stillness and asking that simple question, we can get answers as to find out, what is it I need today that's going to create the best day I want, it's going to make me happy? Once again, what do I want? What do I want for this day? What do I want for the long term? And those things may change over time, but by asking those questions, you're starting to open up that relationship with yourself and develop it and create space for those answers to come in. As we talked before, by following your breath in and out of your body and bringing energy to your heart with your breath, when you ask those questions, you start to get a deeper answer. You start to clue in more of like the bigger picture of what it is you want in your life. So we started today with, what do I want? What do I need? What's fun for me? Think of times in your life when you had a lot of fun in your life. What were you doing? Was it physical activity? Was it quiet time with a friend? Was it cooking for other friends and having a nice dinner? What was it that really brought fun to you? Then you can also go a little deeper in that. What was it about that was fun? Was it that I felt like I was accomplishing something? Was it that we were laughing and having a great time and being carefree? Was it that I was learning something? All those are good information to know about yourself, and it helps develop that relationship with yourself and take you deeper into what it is, who it is you are, and what you want to create for yourself. Another question we asked earlier was, what is it I desire? What is my heart's longing? That's a little bit deeper question that's harder to come up with a quick answer for. So that requires you to sit in stillness and just kind of ask that. At first, you may not get an answer. You may get an image. That's just as good as words. Or you may hear something later that you don't get an answer right away for, and that's okay too. All this is good information and good understanding of yourself. And once you kind of get to know yourself more, then when you're interacting with other people, there's a balance between having yourself be present as well as interacting with the other person. It's hard to describe, but the more that you work on connecting with your core, with who you are, then when you relate to other people, that becomes part of the equation. Oftentimes we find ourselves being asked to do things, and our response is, sure, I'll do that, because we're really well trained to take care of other people and to do for other people. But then we go home and we say, I can't believe I've committed to that. I have no time, no energy. I'm feeling really burnt out and really drained. So by cluing into yourself each day, if you can make a daily practice of it, and cluing into yourself, then when you get asked to do these other things, you really balance it between your own needs and the needs of the other person. And it's okay to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. Maybe I can help someone else who can find someone else who can help you with that. Or I can help you for this long, but not for this long. So you can set boundaries and parameters for yourself that helps to take care of your own needs too. So that's part of the equation. So what I'm going to ask you to do over the next month is really look at your life and start asking these questions to yourself and see what you come up with. What is it you need? What is it you want? What is fun for you? What does your heart long for? And if you'd like to communicate that to me, you could email me and we could talk about what you've come up with. It might be really interesting to share with the rest of the audience. Or if it's personal and you want to keep it to yourself, that's fine too. But let me know how it's going. How is it going having this time with yourself? Is that helping you to develop a deeper relationship with yourself? I'd love to hear from you. My email's here and then at the end of the show. So reach out and let me know. Thank you for tuning in today.